I'm going to be working on cost-effective ways of being able to do your village. A lot of village collectors have been asking me lately, well, can you come up with some way of explaining to me how I can build a village and save money? Because obviously it takes money to build one. Well, the first thing you have to do is start learning how to make more universal pieces. Pieces that you can reuse and use again in your village or in your display, that are universal and that you can make work for you time and again. Also try to get it where you have pieces like this that you can move around from village to village and from display to display and work into your project and be able to go back time and again and have a completely different product, a completely different display or village using some of the same pieces. That I find to be very cost effective for me is the Woodland Scenic products. Now a lot of people are going to say, oh, but you know, come on, this shaker is $10.99. Well, so is this shaker, and it's empty now, but this lasts me for 2-3 years worth of work in villages that I pretty much just tossed off to the side and haven't reused. Now, again, going back to what I was saying, cost effective. Make pieces you can reuse and place in other parts of your village. Make bases where you can make these pieces work on them. You can go back and change the location of an object or a part of your village to another area, and it'll look like a different village every single time. Today I'm going to show you how a little over 2 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons of Woodland Scenic can work to cover this. I've already started this piece. First I painted a layer of green. Part of that is the reasoning behind it is so that I don't have to use as thick a coat of Woodland Scenic as I would if this was just a plain unpainted. And it gives you a little more to play with as far as not having to use as much product. Once that's done, I can spread light coats over the areas that I want to spread the coats over and get the effect that I want without using tons and tons and tons of the product. The other thing I do is blending and layering. The layering is not so much covering some light areas where the blended turf is showing. You can see your darker patches where your grass color is showing, and you can see the browns somewhat where the earth tone is showing through. And this is the layering effect I'm talking about. Not necessarily applying a full coat of one thing and then another coat of another thing and so on and so forth, but giving it the effect that the bottom layer of small grass, fine grass, and dirt are all kind of working their way through the process here. Now, cost-wise, I only spent a few pennies on this. And actually, if you consider the full cost of the bottle of product that I used, it's not even pennies, it's more like about a penny. That's the other thing I like about the Woodland Scenic product. It also gives you a very professional type of effect with your product. I can show you something that I did not use Woodland Scenic on. I used ground moss on, which is, by the way, free if you're really interested in that. And this would be the first layer of my base using this, and it's an okay look, but for those areas that you want a more finished look, a kinder, gentler look, you're going to want to use this and not this. If you were doing a woodland scene, maybe you want this look. And there are things you can do with woodland scenic, obviously, it's woodland scenic, that will give you a more balanced look than this. This is okay, but it's moss, it's only one color too, and it looks very monotone. You don't see that in nature. So, for realistic and effective villages at a cost-effective amount, you want to be able to use good product. Good product may appear to not be cheap, but once you applied the correct practice of using little bits of it at a time over an area, you realize that you can get more and more use out of this.